Hey guys, Marissa at KitchenTableStamper.com. I have got card number 4, the paper and ink card series for this month. Alright, so this is our Happy Harvest, and it is card number 4 in a series of 4. This is card number 1, card number 2, card number 3. This is paper and ink card class. It's my card making class in my Rolling Meadows home studio. If you're a Chicago area rubber stamper, you are very welcome to come and join us for paper and ink cards. It happens the third Monday of each month. Sometimes it gets pushed out of the third Monday for holidays or something, but generally third Monday of the month. It's from 6:30 to 9 in my Northwest suburban home studio. This is our 4th card. You're not local, no problem. We're gonna go through each of the cards and then I'll link all the videos together in the description underneath the video on YouTube or in the quick links underneath the video on the blog. All right, so Happy Harvest features, oh boy, what didn't I put on this card? I just love the way it turned out, but I really used a lot of products. I have my Gallery Grunge stamp set. That's for my background stamping. The Happy Harvest sentiment came from Ride With Me. So you can absolutely work those out for anything that you have. A Happy Harvest sentiment, background stamping. I did some Pretty Peacock on Pretty Peacock. Do you see that cool depth and texture it adds to the background? Then my focal point, my owl and his little glasses, those are from Check You Out. And all the lovely leaves are from the Gather Together bundle. So the Gather Together bundle is this photopolymer stamp set. And then we've got a fantastic die set. Oh, some of the dies are over at one of the other stations. But it's this fantastic fall bundle. When you buy the dies and the stamps together, you can save 10%. You can see these gorgeous stamp and die cut leaf. Look at that great big maple leaf. Isn't it beautiful? And then these smaller leaves here. Is the video camera picking up the texture on those? The leaves in this die set are so cool. They just cut and emboss all in one pass. Really a phenomenal die set. That coordinating die set is called Gathered Leaves, and what a phenomenal set. Even if you got just the fun dies to stand on their own. No, I definitely recommend both. The pumpkins have a die that'll cut out, and same with this big leaf, and then you've got these other leaf dies that will stand alone. If you look here, you can see the little Cajun Craze button. I used the Arts and Crafts dies to cut that one out. Layering circles for the owl and this little mint macron layering, or this little mint macron scalloped layer. This circle is about 2 3/8, and then the coordinating scallop is what we use there. I've got my tailored tag punch to do my dovetails, and the Stampin' pads for this project are Early Espresso, Pretty Peacock, and Cajun Craze. Let's go ahead and look at the cardstock and designer series paper embellishment pieces for this card. We've got a card base. It is 8.5 by 5.5, and it's scored at 4 1/4. This is Pretty Peacock. And our designer series paper is from the Come Together designer series paper. Isn't that gorgeous? Look at that fantastic multicolor print on one side and then the feathers on the other side. I think you could use either one for this card. And this designer series paper piece is 2 by 4. I've got a piece of Cajun Craze cardstock here. This is about a 3 by 3 3/4 inch piece. It's big enough to stamp and die cut our biggest leaf from the Gather Together bundle. Circle is about 2 3/8 Whisper White, and then it's got its coordinating scallop layer. That's mint macron. I've got some Sahara Sand cardstock here. This little piece for the greeting is about a 1/2 inch by 2.5. I've got a 1/2 inch circle punch from that Cajun Craze, and then that little button die cut from the Arts and Crafts dies. I'm going to go ahead and just pop the cardstock holes out of the button there. I just love this button. Now the holes are kind of large, so what we're going to do is layer that button over that Cajun Craze circle, and it'll look dimensional without the contrast of the big open holes. I've got linen thread here, probably about 8 inches is usually what I do for a little bow. And I've got the tiniest little scrap of Whisper White. We're just going to use that tiny bit to liven up the owl's face. A little bit of scrap of Cajun Craze so that we can layer this belly on, make this owl look awesome and multicolored. And then cut ahead for you. These are the dies from the Gathering Leaves. This one is cut from soft suede, and a little bit smaller leaf cut from Pear Pizzazz, and you can see all that gorgeous texture that you get when you run that cardstock through on that die. And it's just a one pass, one piece, the outer edge cuts, and all those little texture designs there imprint into the cardstock. Really fantastic. All right, let's do some stamping. All right, the first thing I'm gonna do is take my Cajun Craze and I'm gonna ink up this biggest leaf and stamp on the Cajun Craze. I'm gonna get all that gorgeous detail. Give that ink a second to transfer. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? All right, set aside. Now let's cover our Stampin' Pierce mat here because we're gonna do some background stamping. You know what? Let's take our Stampin' Pierce mat away. We're using a rubber stamp, so we can take away the Stampin' Pierce mat for the background pieces. I'm inking up this chevron, or herringbone actually. It's more a herringbone pattern background stamp from the Gallery Grunge with Pretty Peacock. And we're gonna stamp that on our Pretty Peacock card base. What you wanna do is stamp this one kind of to the left, off the top a little bit, up off the top of the card. And you wanna press to get the center of that stamp to make a nice impression. You'll get that beautiful texture. Looks like a wood floor. We're going to ink up and do one more time, and we're going to flip it upside down and stamp off the bottom. So this time we'll stamp to the right and off the bottom. Then from that same Gallery Grunge with the same Pretty Peacock Stampin' Pad, we're gonna get these spots. We love these guys. And we're gonna stamp those kind of up off the corner here. Then we're gonna ink up and flip and stamp it so that it'll peek out from behind our leaves. So there's our background. Now it's going to dry a little bit lighter than it looks here, and it's going to give gorgeous texture. Now let's do our Happy Harvest banner. We're back to photopolymer stamps, so let's bring our Stampin' Pierce mat back in. The Happy Harvest is Early Espresso on Sahara Sand, and we're going to stamp it right of center so that we have room for that button. Hoo-hoo, love it. Hoo-hoo, sounds like an owl. All right, now we're gonna ink our owl dude in Pretty Peacock and stamp on the circle, high of center. Now let's get our chamois here. And we're gonna wipe off the pretty peacock ink, and we're gonna switch over to our Cajun Craze. All right, we're gonna need that for a minute. Now we're gonna ink up our owl, and we're going to stamp the beak on the white, and the belly on the Cajun Craze. We're gonna take another block, press that on top to get a good impression. Then we'll lift. And there's our little bits for paper piecing. We'll slide him to the side, and we're gonna bring our circle back in because my owl, every opportunity, needs glasses. So we're gonna ink up in early espresso and put some glasses on our owl. I like a wise old owl. All right, let's grab the Big Shot and cut out our leaf. Okay, I've got our come together leaf ready to cut out. We're just going to add our die. Now remember, with the new dies, you want the edge of the die touching the outer edge of the stamped image. When you've got everything touching, all in the right places, I love to take a little bit of low tack tape, tape down the die, crank it through. And there's our gorgeous cutouts. Let's get our dovetail ends here. I'm gonna do the end of my designer series paper and both ends of my Happy Harvest greeting. Cute. Now a tiny bit of fussy cutting here. We're gonna trim out Owl's belly. And what I'm doing is I'm trimming so that it's gonna have a small little line of Cajun Craze stamping all the way around. About the width of the very bottom edge here. Do you see that? And then the little nose. Now this detail you can take or leave. I love that there's the contrast in the face. And cut that out, and then we'll glue it right over the blue one. Okay, I'm back, and we've got our bits all cut out. Let's get some multi-purpose liquid glue and glue them to the little owl before we lose them. Or is that just me? Maybe I'm the only one who loses my bits. So here's his little belly, and we're gonna take his beak, and we're just gonna touch that little beak that we cut into the multi-purpose liquid glue on the belly. Got more control that way. We'll pop the little orange one right over the blue, and then same with the belly. Just pop it right over. Isn't that crazy how that just brings everything to life? I love that. All right, I've got some snail adhesive. Let's put together a few more layers while we're at it. I'm going to adhere my owl to my mint macaron scallop. Let's adhere the designer series paper to the card front, and that we're gonna corner. So about 1/2 inch from the top, 1/2 inch from the right side, and we'll burnish that down. Then we can go ahead and add lots of snail on the back of the scallop with the owl. We're gonna bring in our leaf, and we want that to show nicely when our owl is center. Turn a little bit, we're kind of dry fitting. We'll pick up the leaf, add some more snail. Now we know that we've got perfect placement, and we'll adhere that down. All right, so burnish that down, and then more snail. We go across the back of our sentiment, and we're going to add our leaves to the back of the sentiment. We want to see all three of the peaks on that Pear Pizzazz leaf. So we'll just pick those up where we want them to be, kind of make them as a bunch. All right, I like that. Then we're going to add a little bit of mini dimensionals under these leaves, kind of at the extreme, because we want them to pop up on the end here. Some dimensionals on the leaves. We're gonna pop those on so that it gives our owl a little place to stand. Next, we're gonna thread this little button, and I'm going front to back, back to front. I'm gonna crisscross. So I'm going diagonal and then front to back and then back to front. So it makes an X. And then I'm gonna tie a bow. So knot and then a loop, swoop over the top. We want a little bow, so we're gonna hold the center and pull the tails, and there's plenty of linen thread here. All right, so I got my little bow. I'm satisfied with that. Let me get my ribbon scissors, trim off the excess. Now what I'm gonna do is with my multi-purpose liquid glue, I'm gonna just trace the holes and then down the center. And I'm going to take that 1/2 inch circle and I'm going to stick that to the back of the button, and it fills in those holes so we don't have such a high contrast between the Cajun craze and the Sahara sand that the button's going to sit on. The holes don't look quite as gaping large that way. So just a little finishing touch. And there we go. Happy harvest. All right, you guys, if you got any questions about the card, about paper and ink card class, about Stampin' Up, if there's anything that I can do to help you stay crafty, you can email marissa@kitchentablestamper.com, and to shop Stampin' Up 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, buzz over to marisaalvarez.stampinup.net. Thanks for watching.